All right, so now we've been able to create the user registration model. Now, next thing we need to do is to actually create a route. So I will come to my routes folder, which is right here, and I'll create another file inside, or a file inside. I'll call it user route. Okay, and I think I should make it plural, because anyway, I'll just say user route. I'll leave it singular. .js. Aha, then I'll hit enter. Now let's go ahead and quickly create the user route. This one is going to be quick. So first off, I'll bring in express. I'll say const. You know what, just to save a little bit of time, like I said earlier, the things that I've already done before, I'll just copy them. So let's bring in express, and then we're going to create a router. So I'll say const router. So let's bring in the router as well. That's going to be equal to express dot router, and the dot router is going to be capital letter, and then we'll just call it like that. Okay, now we've brought in that. Next, I'm going to come down here and I'll say router. So let me create my user registration route. So I'll say router dot post, sorry, because it's going to be a post route. Why is it going to be a post route? Because I expect that there'll be some information that the front end will send to me, then I'll post it to the back end. So I'll say user.post, and then the name of the route is just going to be localhost. At this point though, localhost port 500 / register. Okay, now before, anyway, we're gonna do everything we need to do, so let me not get ahead of myself. Now when this route is hit on the URL, or when this API endpoint is hit, what function do we want to fire? That function is going to be our controller. So just to make sure that we don't have any error, I'll just say register user, which I have not created, but don't worry, I'll create it. Now let's go ahead and export the route so that we can use it from the server. So I'll say module.export, and that's going to be equal to router. Okay, now remember, in the first project I showed you that there are two ways you can do this. The way I prefer is this particular one, where you just define the single route on its own line. That's why I'm using it. But remember, I showed you the other way. So if you prefer that one where you collapse many routes in one line, you can do that. All right, great. So because I don't want to get an error for this register user function that I have not created, I'll just create it inside of my controller right away. So let's just anyway, let me just create it here so that I don't go into the controller. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'll just create an arrow function here, and I'll just call that function register user. Okay, so I've created the function, and it's not going to do anything. I just don't want an error for this guy here. Okay, good. So now let's go ahead and save. And now we're going to go to server.js, and we're going to utilize this route we just created, this user route we just created. So I'll go to my server.js, and the first thing we need to do here is to import that route. So here I'm going to say require, and the name of that route is, I'll call it user route. And where is it located? So I'll say it's equal to, it's located in, oh, I made a mistake. This should be const require, const user route is equal to require, and then you then specify the path where it's located. So for me, it's in /route, /routes, aha, /user routes. Okay, so this is the user route we've just imported. Now we need to create a middleware that will utilize this route from the server.js. It's importing it is the first step. So now let's use it. So I'm going to come down here, just below this my middleware, and I'll add a comment. I'll say route middleware, and then here I'll say app.use, and technically I want to use the route middleware, but first I want it to have a prefix. So every user route, I want it to have a prefix of /API /users. Okay, but for this specific one, I'll then add my user route in front of it. User routes. Yeah. Okay, so technically we've been able to create the route for the user registration. All right, so now in the next video, we're going to create a controller for the user route. See you there.